Hi Tidewater, I'm Tzipi. I got to visit your community earlier this year, and for those of you who weren't there, I just wanted to share a bit about myself. I was born and raised in Denver, Colorado, the youngest of 5 to a modern Orthodox family, and my entire upbringing was based around the idea of Zionism and the concept of Israel. So from a very early age, I always wanted to make Aliyah, to move to Israel, to find my way here. And at the age of 15, the opportunity came up through a program called Na'aleh, which is a Jewish agency program that helps Jewish teens from around the world move to Israel without their families at the age of 15 and complete their high school education in Israel. So when the decision to go into the IDF came up, the only place that really seemed to feel right for me was in a combat position. Normally women aren't required to serve in combat, it's a voluntary position, and if they do decide they want to serve in combat, they have to pass a week-long series of psychological and physical tests to qualify, and they also have to basically give up their rights as women in the military, serving 3 years just like the men, and serving in the reserves. I, in spite of all those things, decided that I wanted to go into a combat unit, and in August of 2007, after I graduated, I went into nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare in the Combat Engineering Corps. I spent the next 3 years in the Combat Engineering Corps. I started out as the platoon grenader and radio operator. Eventually I went to commander's course and I became a squad commander and later a platoon commander, and by the end of my service I was a company master sergeant. I was discharged in 2010 when I was a staff sergeant at the rank of staff sergeant, and upon my discharge I applied for a job in the field of security work. I went into a month-long security course that specialized in anti-terrorism and guerrilla warfare and was stationed at checkpoints as a private security guard in checkpoints throughout East Jerusalem and the West Bank. I spent the next 8 months working in security checkpoints throughout the area, and it was 8 months into the job that I was hit by a car in a checkpoint. It wasn't a terrorist attack or politically motivated, it was just an average Israeli driver. I spent the next year after my accident working very hard on my own rehabilitation and trying to be my own health advocate in Israel, which was no small trick in the social healthcare system. And after a year of one of the hardest years of my life, things started to change, and I'd like to think that a large part of it was because I was tired of being unhappy, and I was tired of blaming the world for my bad luck, and blaming the world for my injuries and my accident. But it was also because I made a conscious decision that I wanted to be happy and that I wanted to take a different approach in life, and that I wanted to, in a sense, have a reason for a life again, which is when JDC and the Center for Independent Living came into my life. I found out about the Center for Independent Living by sheer luck, and immediately went to meet with the director and fell in love with the concept. I love the idea of people with disabilities helping people with disabilities. I love the idea of people with disabilities standing up for their own right to independence and standing up for their own right to accessibility and to social acceptance. I was immediately hooked. I began volunteering, mostly to try and give my own life meaning, and through doing that I ended up receiving so much from the center in return, much more than I ever possibly could have tried to give back. And projects like the Center for Independent Living, projects that JDC has throughout the country, help people with disabilities realize that nothing can define you but yourself, no handicap or condition or disorder. It helped me realize that I'm only limited if I choose to be, and being in this wheelchair doesn't mean I have to choose that. And people like you are what made the Center for Independent Living possible. So on behalf of myself and the Center for Independent Living in Tel Aviv, I'd like to thank Tidewater and for everything it's done for me personally and for the disabled community in Tel Aviv.